Hello friends, I'm here today to share with you my May wrap up. Honestly, we're going like this because it's been like nicer weather outside, like a little bit cooler and not over 100. So there's been a lot of people like cutting grass and cutting hay, and just like this is the allergy level we're dealing with at the moment. So this is how it is. I did pretty good in the month of May. I read 16 books. I am also going to vent at the end of this about a book that I just read. I read it like June 2nd and 3rd, but I want to get rid of it, so we're going to go ahead and vent about it now so I don't have to do it in my June wrap up. Starting off, I read Not My Romeo by Ilsa Madden Mills. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. This is about a woman who is set up on a blind date on Valentine's Day. She goes to the restaurant where the blind date is supposed to be at and sees this guy here who turns out to not be the guy she's supposed to be meeting. He's a professional football player. So this was good. It was pretty insta-lovey though. I felt like it could have been fleshed out a little bit better. So I did end up giving it 4 stars. Next was Throttled by Lauren Asher. This is book 1 in her Dirty Air series. I ended up giving this one 4 stars as well. I really enjoyed this though. This is a Formula One racing driver and the sister of his teammate slash rival, because they don't get off. They have like a rivalry before and then they become teammates. And his sister is like traveling the world with them as a like YouTube vlogger type thing. So this is really good. It's a little bit enemies to lovers because they get off on the wrong foot. I also think it's set up for some other like relationships that are going to come up hopefully in the series. I believe they do. But I'm super excited to continue on with this series, and this cover is so gorgeous. The camera and the Formula One car, and then like the back has like pictures on it, and yeah, I love this cover. Next was Ruthless Strangers by Maggie Cole. I read this for the Mafia Romance readathon. Mine went blank for a second. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I really liked the premise of it. The main couple meet in Vegas, where I think she's just going through a divorce. These are older characters. She's just going through a divorce, and she's basically like telling her friends that like how she wouldn't mind like a one night stand where she didn't know the guy and all this kind of stuff. And basically he like convinces her friends to like set up that situation for them. And so I think they actually spend like the weekend together in Vegas, and then both unknowingly go back home to Chicago, and she works in some type of like city planning office, and he has to go there for business, and then they meet again, and it is very quickly like very insta-lovey after they meet back up together. They're together pretty quickly, and it also didn't really feel mafia to me. It didn't really feel like high stakes. I wasn't invested in anything that was happening. There was kind of the hint of something towards the end of it that I'm hoping maybe is fleshed out in book 2, but I don't know. I just didn't really feel like it's the mafia. It's the Ivanov family mafia wars. I didn't really feel that it was very mafia. Also, for the Mafia Romance readathon, I read The Bastard's Betrayal by Katie Robert, book 1 in her Scandalous Scion series. I actually just saw that she said this series is on hold indefinitely, and that makes me very sad. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. The Scandalous Scion series is like the next generation to her O'Malley series, which I loved, and I was really hoping to get more from it. So this one is, I don't even know like how to describe this one. Basically, they were together, and she found out that he was like lying to her about who he was, and he is a part of the mafia world. She thought he was just like a regular guy. So they break up. I think she shot him or shot at him. No, she shot him. It was like obviously non-fatal. And then at the beginning of this one, or basically like start of the story, is he finds out that she has been I guess like promised to marry this other head of the of another mafia family, and he goes and kidnaps her. Excuse me. He goes and kidnaps her, and like they rekindle their romance. I would have liked to have seen more of the build up, the past relationship when they were supposedly so drawn to each other, and she thought he was a normal guy. That kind of felt more of like a tell, not show section of the story, when I would have really liked to have seen it more so that I could have believed their draw to each other more, but it was pretty good. And then I read Not My Match by Ilsa Mad-Mills. This is the companion to Not My Romeo. This is one of the football player's teammates and the sister of the girl in book one. The couple in the first book, I think, is on their honeymoon, on the vacation. I forget why. And like that guy, the guy in book one, has like warned all of his friends and teammates about staying away from the sister. But I think he sees her on a date. I don't really remember much about this one. I thought that I liked this one better than I liked book one, but now that I'm trying to remember it, I can't remember what actually happened. I think she had to move in with him for some reason. There was a fire, maybe. She moves in with him for some reason, and then they get together, and she had some type of job that she wanted to go do, or an internship for school. That's something that she wanted to do. I don't remember much about this book. I rated it 4 stars though, and I wrote, I would have enjoyed this, but I would have liked for the main character to get her dream job in the main story and not the epilogue. So I don't know what that means because I don't remember. But next, I read Notorious by Minerva Spencer. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I don't remember much about this book either. I wrote down, didn't really feel the connection between the main couple, lots of miscommunication. I do know I read it for the historical romance readathon. I feel like maybe it was a marriage of convenience, but I don't really remember that for sure. So, the other book that I read for historical romance readathon was Crying Wolf by Kerrigan Byrne. This is book, I don't remember what, in her Good Girls series. I think this one had just come out like a couple of weeks before the historical romance readathon. And this one is kind of a forced marriage, almost. She ends up getting ruined. I hate having to say that, but by the main guy, because she is he like catches her in his house. She's got a bit of a kleptomania problem. She likes to pocket things and then leave. So yeah, there was also a lot of time jumps. Like, it was the time when he catches her, and then he follows her into her house and gets caught there by her family. And then we skipped 2 weeks to the wedding, and then we skipped a couple of weeks to this point, and we skipped a couple of weeks to this point, and I just couldn't ever really like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I could never really like get a feel for the characters and their relationship together because of all the time jumps. Then I read Wolf Gone Wild by Juliet Cross. I gave this 5 stars. I loved it so much. This is a what's the word? Cursed werewolf and a curse breaking witch romance. I feel like a lot of times with like more fantasy romances, they're so like, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but basically I like this one because it was like a rom-com, but it still had all those fantasy elements. As soon as I finished this, I ordered the rest of the series for Book Bonanza pickup, so there's that. I loved this so much. Next was Love at First Fight by Carrie Aarons. I thought she was a Book Bonanza author when I picked up the book, and like now I don't see her on the list, so I don't know if I imagined that or if she had to bump to a different year. But this is obviously a hate to love situation. They meet because she is dating his best friend, and right before the start of this book, the best friend decides he's gonna move to Asia for work and basically like dumps her and doesn't tell his friends and just leaves, and so they're all really mad at him. So she goes on a vacation, or she like rents a summer house with his friends, and that's how they kind of like come together. I gave this one 4 stars. It was cute, but he was very rude to her at the beginning, and he did not grovel enough in this teeny tiny little book to be forgiven for some of the stuff that he said, in my opinion. After that, I read Beauty and the Baller by Ilsa Madden Mills. I love the dress on this cover. It is so stunning. I gave this one 4 stars as well. I thought the main female character in this was way too good for the guy in it. So they have a one night stand in the beginning when he's very much still in like going through grief over losing his fiance. I think she was, maybe have been his wife. I think it was his fiance though. And he calls her the wrong name, so she sneaks out before the morning, before he wakes up. And then they meet back up when she has to move back home to her hometown to take care of her sister because her mother has passed. He's the new football coach in town, and they're neighbors. He was way too good for him. He made terrible decisions. He was a grown-ass man who could not open his mouth and communicate anything. And I felt very terrible for the like high school football players that he was supposed to be like being a mentor to, because they were getting that as a mentor. I really wanted Coach and Tammy Taylor vibes from this, and that man was no Coach Taylor. Whew. Next was Twisted Hate by Anna Huang. This book is so long for no reason. I ended up giving this one 3 stars. And like I thought that I was excited about it because like I've read the other books and I've seen, was it Josh and Jules in those other books, but this was so long and so boring. Here, about page 100 or so, they're on a vacation with the couple from book 1, and she mentions getting really bad period cramps. Or sorry, excuse me, she doesn't mention it. His sister, her friend, mentions it to him that she's got really bad period cramps and she's gonna go to bed. And then she's like, oh yeah, she gets them each time and she's down and out for the day. And he was like, endometriosis? We don't know. Okay, whatever. Page 100, and it's never mentioned again. Find the actual end of it. 504 pages, and it's never mentioned again past page 100. Throughout all of their hooking up, it's never mentioned. Throughout all of their actual together, it's never mentioned. Throughout their breakup, never mentioned. Why was it mentioned in the first place? I'm obviously I'm a little pissed off about it. Yeah, I didn't like this one. I gave it 3 stars. It was too long. Yeah, I don't know. I have nothing to say about it, really. After that, I needed something that I thought was going to pick me up, and it did. I read Terms and Conditions by Lauren Asher. I almost said Twisted Hate again. But I read Terms and Conditions. This is book 2 in her Dreamland Billionaire series. This is a marriage of convenience. Declan has to get married and have a baby to get his section of the inheritance from the grandpa to become the CEO. And Iris, his assistant, like, has picked out somebody. They're at the like engagement announcement party, but he basically makes that woman run off, and they are in a pinch. And Iris is like, "We're getting married." I really felt like the emotions coming off both of them, and I really felt their draw to each other. I thought this was a great marriage of convenience and also like boss employee, like she's his assistant. And I really liked that they addressed that she could not keep working for him in the manner that she was working for him. And yes, I needed something that was going to pick me up, and this did exactly that. Then I read Hooked by Emily McIntyre. I gave it this one 4 stars. I thought this was a pretty good dark romance. It kept my interest, but I don't think it was anything special. Yeah, I felt like the 2 main characters, this is a like Hook and Wendy retelling, and Peter's the bad guy, but like also her father. I felt like the characters were pretty like stereotypical dark romance characters, but I didn't mind that. I thought it worked really well in that setting. So I read A Deal with the Devil by Elizabeth O'Rourke. She's a Book Bonanza author, and I rated this one 5 stars. I liked it a lot. I don't know that it would be like a favorite of all time, but it was really like what I was looking for at the moment. So there is that. I did, straight after I finished it, I did go order all 3 books in the series to pick up at Book Bonanza. So there's that again. So this one is A Grumpy Sunshine. Also another like boss assistant. He's a plastic surgeon, and his normal assistant is her best friend, but he and his partner are going like overseas to try to adopt a baby or something. So I think it was like 2 months or 3 months he was going to be gone. So she fills in for him as the assistant to the plastic surgeon. And yes, I just really liked this. It was great Grumpy Sunshine. But it was also only told from her point of view, which I think, I don't know. I kind of wish we had gotten his point of view, but I don't know if maybe there's like a bonus novella or something for that. So then I read The Beach by R.S. Gray. This was pretty good. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I just kind of wanted something summary, something beachy, something short. That's exactly what this was. This is from her book, Dr. Dearest. This is the like best friend and the brother. They end up they're supposed to go on vacation with that couple from Dr. Dearest, but that couple backs out, and so they're there by themselves. And yeah, that's what it is. That's what I wanted. So it was pretty good. And the last book for May was The Wedding Game by Megan Quinn. I'm giving this one 3 stars. This did not work for me. I did not like either main character. I thought she was very selfish. I thought they both were very selfish. But also in a way that like they pretended like they were doing something nice for other people when they were really specifically going against that person's wishes. I didn't appreciate how she like forced her brother and his partner into doing the TV show, and I didn't appreciate how he like didn't take it seriously until he started to fall for her. And then like instead of admitting that he was taking it seriously because of her, he was like, I'm doing it to help my brother. But no, you're not, because you're still being a jerk to him. So I didn't like either of the main characters in this. And now a rant. So I don't even know where to start. This next book was supposed to come out in the fall of 2020. It got pushed back. Okay, that's great. Fall of 2021. Got pushed back. Came out March or April, I forget. But all of this time, I, as a reader, was under the impression that the book was done. The book was done, and it was written, and it was the publisher that was pushing it back. Let me tell you what the book is first. That'll probably be a good starting point, huh? So the book is Game Changer by Abbi Gaines. This is in her Field Party series. This supposed to be a YA romance series. We'll get to that in a minute. So, I like Donnie. There was so much happening in this short book. So it starts off with Asa, who we've seen throughout the rest of the series. He has a very abusive dad, so there's a trigger warning for that. He decides he's gonna stand up to his dad, and his mom, like, basically is like, I raised you to be better than he is, get out. So trigger warning again for suicidal thoughts, because he's standing on a bridge about to jump off of it, and Esmita shows up. Now, we've not seen Esmita in any of the books in this series, as far as I can remember, but apparently she's always been there, kind of lurking, and kind of, her parents own a gas station, like grocery store gas station situation. So apparently she's always kind of been there, knowing who Asa was, and really having a crush on him when he had no clue who she was. So they meet, and she convinces him to not. And then he's driving her home because they're in the bridge in the middle of nowhere, and she just walked to, but it's too far for her to walk back, so she needs a ride. And he gets a call from his buddy that one of their friends has died. So there's a trigger warning for that. Loss of a friend. There's a trigger warning for a hate crime, because that's not the friend that died. I think it's I don't remember if it's the previous book or the one before that, is an interracial young couple, a black guy and a white girl. But these bigots, whatever you want to call them, were messing with the black guy friend, and sort of in a white savior complex almost. The girlfriend's white brother dies instead of him, and I was just like, what did I just, like, I was listening to it, I was like, what did I just hear? What? And then so he doesn't get to go to the funeral because he's been kicked out of his house, so he has to go. The whole series takes place in Alabama. He's got to go to Arizona or New Mexico or somewhere like that to stay with his grandmother. Okay, whatever. And then the whole world shuts down because of COVID-19 pandemic, and it's literally stated in there that it's the COVID-19 pandemic. And he doesn't get to, I guess it would have been February or March when he moves, and then he comes back to Alabama in the summer to stay with one of the friends from the series, and life is so different, and they don't know when things are going to go back to normal, and yada 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 this, masks, yada 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 this, still not used to masks, not used to social distancing. Why do we have to social distance? Even, like, so they're going back and forth point of views, and even at one point, what's her name, Esmita says something about him and his friends not social distancing at a restaurant, and then, like, the next day agrees to go to a party with them, and I'm just like, are we not drawing the connection? So they kind of go back and forth a little bit while most of the story takes place after he comes back for the summer, and they kind of go back and forth a little bit where, like, he likes her, but she's too good for him, you know, and he really wants to be with her, but then he gets a blowjob from another girl after a beach party, yeah, and then, like, I forget how she found out about that, and he, like, tells her basically, like, I was thinking about you the whole time. I'm like, that makes it even worse. Thank you for pointing that out. And then she decides that she's gonna go to college, not at the same college as him because that would be weird, but in the college, at a college in the same city as his. So that's still very stalkery and very creepy, and I don't like it. And then they sleep together, and she realizes out of nowhere that he's not ever going to change, and that's crazy to go to a college where he is going. And yeah, it is. And then they don't end up together. The very end of it was him asking her to come there, not ever realizing that she had that plan anyway. And she tells him no, that she's gonna stay, and then she just doesn't go to college because the only place she was gonna go was the one in his town. I hated this book so much, and we went through all of that to not even get an HEA or HFN, and I hated it so much. And I'm gonna get rid of this book and pretend that it doesn't exist in this series because it was an absolute cop out for Abbi Gaines to put the pandemic in this book. It was an absolute cop out and had no real value to the story because it's not like they were social distancing. It's not like they were being kept apart because of quarantine. It was an absolute cop out for her to do that, and I hate this book. So I had to take a minute after that. So that's my May wrap up and my June rant for now. Hopefully June gets better than that. But yeah, have you guys read any of these books, or what did you read in the month of May? Let me know down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Bye.